Guys, I legitimately don't really know where to start with this one. I've probably re-recorded the audio for this video 10 times because this movie is just so ridiculous and so difficult to talk about, but I will try again. Firstly, I just want to say, go follow my new social media. I have created a Twitter, in case you guys didn't know. I have an Instagram, go follow that too if you want to see my face instead of my avatar. And enjoy the video. So, the Gingerdead man. Get it? Honestly guys, this is a movie that I went into and I just had absolutely no idea how I was going to feel when I watched it. I mean, it's a movie about a gingerbread man that comes back to life and he murders people. So, yeah, I think a little confusion as to my feelings regarding the movie is kind of justified here. I really find it strange that I'd never heard of this movie before or seen this movie before I did, because despite the obviously low budget and the silly premise, this movie has quite a substantial amount of fans. I'm kind of tempted to use the phrase cult following when describing the fans of this movie, to be honest. I mean, the movie has 3 sequels, one of them being a crossover movie with another ridiculous franchise. It has a comic book, it has fan art, it has merch, it has little puppets that you can buy of the Gingerdead man himself. Like, it's kind of weirdly popular. But I'd say it's probably not on the level of something like Nightmare on Elm Street and is more on the level of something like Sharknado. Like, it's infamous, but it's not considered good, if you know what I mean. But it still shocked me because it still has fans, and considering I've watched the movie now, I'm kind of confused as to why. And the thing is, I'm usually in the know about horror icons and horror films with semi-large followings, so I don't know how this one fell under my radar. Like, I know about Hatchet, I know about Brain Dead, I know about Dead Snow, but somehow I didn't know about the Gingerdead man. Luckily for me though, my father, being the amazingly good listener that he is, has decided that since Christmas Day of last year, he will keep purchasing terrible movies for me to watch and possibly review. He's a very supportive father, and even though I am a kind of YouTuber, he doesn't want to disown me, so I guess that's a plus. But last Christmas he bought me a plethora of movies, including Zombievers, by the way, which, yeah, I've made a video on that too, you might want to go watch it, it's pretty good. But anyway, he also bought me a DVD collection called The Doll Collection. And this collection had 4 movies in it, all of which I want to cover on this channel at some point, because I've watched them all now and they're all very interesting endeavours, to say the least. But the one that stood out the most to me was a gem that was wedged in the middle of the DVD case called, you guessed it, The Gingerdead Man from 2005. Now, I bet you're probably asking, why was this the one out of the lot that stood out to me the most? Well, I mean, firstly, it's not really about a doll, is it? It's about a gingerbread man, like, as in an edible cookie. It has nothing to do with the collection, I was just kind of more confused as to why it was even in there in the first place. But also, it managed to look way more ridiculous than the other movies. I mean, some of them looked really stupid, like there's this one called Doll Graveyard that I'll cover at some point, and it's just as stupid as the title implies it is, and the cover looks like this, so yeah, it's pretty dumb. But a movie about a psychotic gingerbread man seemed a bit more up my alley. But I'm a bit confused as to why they even put this movie in the collection in the first place. I mean, maybe they just needed another movie related to horror and The Gingerdead Man was the easiest film to get a hold of at the time. But like I said, it's got nothing to do with dolls. I mean, The Gingerdead Man is an inanimate object, so I guess it's kind of close enough, but there are so many bad doll movies they could have picked, so I'm just kind of confused why they didn't go for something a bit more related to toys. But anyway, after accepting the misplacement of the film in the collection, I wondered what kind of movie I was in for. As you guys have probably already gathered from my statements on this channel as well as my second channel that was originally dedicated to these reviews, I am a sucker for cheesy horror movies, and even some with ridiculous premises, so in my head, this was one that had the potential to be something enjoyable for me. I mean, I've mentioned them already, but Dead Snow and Brain Dead, I love these movies. So this could have been put up there on my bad but charming mental movie list. However, on the other hand, some movies that try too hard to be ridiculous can also really annoy me, like The Beaster Bunny. By the way, I've made a review on that too, and to be honest, it's one of my favourite reviews I've ever made because I got genuinely angry while making it, so maybe go watch that one too. So yeah, I went into this film with mixed feelings on whether I would enjoy the movie or not when watching it, and after viewing it multiple times now, I have to say, I still have mixed feelings on it. I know, you want me to spend this review bashing the thing and complaining about how stupid it is and all that, since that's what these videos are here for, but hear me out for a second. Like I said, I have a soft spot for movies that have stupid premises as long as the end product is enjoyable and or interesting to me. And as is obvious, my opinion is completely subjective, which is something that I don't think people who watch my videos quite understand. My opinion is not gospel. I am not a good judge of what makes a genuinely fantastic movie. I mean, I like to think that in terms of the more behind the scenes aspects of movie making, such as cinematography, sound design, and script writing, I have at least a semi-decent grasp on what's good and what's bad, at least on a really, really basic level. But the fact is, I'm not a movie critic. I just like to critique obviously bad movies because I find it fun. And the thing is, I may like really good movies like Kill Bill or Battle Royale or Titanic, but I also really like terrible movies. I can't only enjoy Hitchcock and Tarantino movies because sometimes I don't want to watch a masterpiece that brings many different emotions out in me. Sometimes I just want to watch something that I can just laugh at and have a good time and have a drink with some friends and watch. I mean, that's how I got into terrible movies in the first place. They're really entertaining sometimes, but it just depends which one you watch, which is why I decided to make a channel dedicated to reviewing them. They can make me laugh and they allow me to watch something silly every once in a while, because sometimes I don't want to be watching something that's going to make me cry. And the Gingerdead Man does just that. It's campy, it has quite bad effects and a very bad script, and trust me, the effects for 2005 are really bad, especially considering the caliber of horror films that came out that year, and it has an antagonist that is just so delightfully ridiculous that it tickles me every time I see his reanimation sequence. It's so dumb. However, I repeat, however, there are also some very glaring issues with the movie that also stop it from being completely likeable. And I guess I'll be discussing that now for the rest of the video. Huzzah! So let's start with some background. The film was, as I said, released in 2005, and to this day has a 3.4 rating on IMDb. I mean, that's not bad considering what kind of movie this is. I've seen way worse ratings out there for B-movies like this. I tried searching high and low for the budget online and even the domestic gross, but I couldn't find them, I'm sorry. It does help with some kind of perspective as to whether people actually liked the movie or not, or if it did well when it came out, but I just couldn't find the info. I mean, I don't like to judge a movie based on the budget, but it does kind of help make the movie look a bit better, even if the plot isn't that great. Now, when looking into the movie, I found that Charles Band, the director, actually worked on quite a few movies in a similar kind of genre as the Gingerdead Man, which isn't really surprising. Most directors of bad movies don't improve much in their future film endeavours. Some of the movies that he's worked on include Zombies vs. Strippers. Damn, that's bringing me back to another video that I've done. Insert shameless plug here. And The Evil Bong, which might explain why there's a Gingerdead Man vs. Evil Bong movie. Yeah, that's a movie that exists. It's real. It's one of the sequels to The Gingerdead Man. I'm actually kind of debating watching it when I have enough alcohol to get through it, and maybe when I can gather my friends around so that I don't have to suffer alone. But unfortunately, if I'm ever going to make a review of that movie, you guys are going to have to wait for that, because it seems from watching the trailer and reading the reviews that there's actually lore to these two franchises. Yeah, there's lore regarding a movie about a gingerbread man and a bong. Yeah. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to watch all of the Gingerdead Man movies and all of the Evil Bong movies before I step into that movie, so I've got a long way to go. Luckily for me, I already own the Gingerdead Man 2, again, thanks to Dad. I think the only reason he bought this one is because it's called Gingerdead Man 2, The Passion of the Crust. Like, really? But anyway, back to the film at hand. I also kind of found out that the main tagline of this movie is "Evil never tasted so good." I mean, my DVD version didn't say that, but I'm pretty sure that it's somewhere on the American versions of the DVDs. It's almost as if the people who made the Doll DVD collection kind of knew that the tagline was mediocre and decided not to include it on their case out of shame. Because let's face it, nothing is ever going to be as genius as Zombeaver's tagline. I mean, "You'll all be damned," with the damned spout like damn as in a dam, not damned as in actually damned. Like, you can't really get more perfect than that. No B-movie will ever beat that. But that is enough stalling. I guess I should go through what happens in the Gingerdead Man. I haven't been avoiding talking about what actually happens in the movie because it's really bad or it's really annoying to edit these parts of the video or anything. Which it is, but I'm the one who decided to make content talking about bad horror movies rather than sitting in front of a camera for 20 minutes and ranting like I used to, so I have to lie in that bed now. The thing is, it's just kind of difficult to explain the story of this thing without going on tangents every 2 seconds about how the plot doesn't make any sense, or how bad the actors are, or how bad the script is, or how nothing in this movie could possibly happen in real life and everything is just nonsensical. But I'm gonna have to, because I've written the script already, I gotta do it. Also, you're going to hear a lot of tangents about the plot being very similar to other horror movies. Other very similar horror movies. But anyway, let's go! So immediately, the movie starts off with a bang. Literally. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be shocked that Gary Busey is in this movie like I usually would with a semi-decent actor being in a terrible movie like this. Not even because he also plays the Gingerdead Man himself, because honestly, I had no idea who this guy was until I looked him up for this review. I'm sure that some of you know him since he voice acts in some video games apparently, but honestly, I looked at what he's been in and none of it seems familiar to me, or at least I don't remember him being in any of these movies or games. To be fair though, it's been forever since I watched Lethal Weapon or Point Break, or played COD, so maybe my memory's just bad and, you know, I just don't remember, or maybe he's just not memorable, I don't know. Anyway, Gary Busey over here is in the middle of robbing a diner, I guess.
This ain't right. You gotta fight back. It'll be okay. You bastard, I'm gonna fucking kill you!
I have no idea what the hell this guy's plan was, except run at him and hope that he forgot how to use the gun. Like, seriously, what was he planning on doing there? So, the whole point of this scene is to show that this girl over here lost her brother and her father to this serial killer, who, to be honest, doesn't really seem like he enjoys killing that much, like his gingerbread counterpart does, but his character is so confusing and flip-floppy that it's really hard to tell. Like, 1 minute he's going on about how dad's being murdered in cold blood is normal and is a part of living on planet Earth.
I'm sorry that's your dad, but welcome to Earth, pal.
And the next he's acting like he doesn't want to murder people, but he just does because his mother told him that he has to finish what he started.
And I'm required to do what my mother always told me, and that's to finish what I started.
And the next he's a fucking cookie.
The hell is that?
Well, it sure ain't the Pillsbury fucking dope boy.
Now, I can see what the director was kind of going for here, and when you watch further into this review and see what happens later in the movie, you'll kind of know more of what I'm talking about, but he wanted some kind of Child's Play knockoff movie, but with a ginger biscuit instead of a doll, which honestly is at least kind of original. I've never heard of a movie where the main slasher is a gingerbread man before, probably because the idea is just really fucking ridiculous, but you know, it's original, I have to give him that. But, I mean, it's obvious that he was taking a hell of a lot of inspiration from Child's Play. The original, not the god-awful remake. I could make an entire video about that thing. I mean, both movies have an antagonist who are serial killers and know someone who's into voodoo and therefore are able to turn into inanimate objects that continue to murder people while saying quippy lines and laughing like maniacs.
Don't fuck with the Chuck.
How about a facial?
But the difference is that, like I said, this killer is such a non-character that he doesn't have a clear personality, and his gingerbread self and human self are so different that they don't even seem like the same character. Plus, he's so forgettable and bland that I don't even remember what his name is. I just keep calling him Gary Busey because I don't know what his character is actually called. But do you know whose name I do remember? Charles Lee Ray. Why do I remember Charles Lee Ray's name? Because Chucky is iconic. He's quippy, he's a sociopath, he's hilarious, he's quick to anger, and he's just a good villain. Plus, Charles Lee Ray as a human seems at least slightly similar to Chucky in the small amount of screen time that he gets in those movies. He's quick to anger due to him trying to kill the cop chasing after him and becoming frustrated when he misses. And he's murderous, because he's running away from a literal murder scene that he was involved in. Like, we know what he's about. He's a murderer, he wants to live, and he knows voodoo. I mean, yes, he's more quippy as a doll, but in fairness, he was shot and he was running away from a cop in the one scene that we saw his human self in. He didn't really have much time or an audience to be quippy to. In comparison, the Gingerdead man is dull and he's just kind of a copycat of Chucky. I don't want to say it, but he is, I'm sorry. So, anyway, back to the movie. If I'm being honest, I thought that this scene was going to turn into some kind of porno. It has that kind of weird, scummy, porny vibe. But I guess the killer couldn't get it up and tries to shoot the girl instead and runs away, letting us audience member watch the title sequence. Now, I've had too many experiences with YouTube deciding that showing a snippet of music from a movie to show appreciation for it to be a breach of copyright, so I'm not going to risk letting you guys hear the music in the title sequence, but I'm just going to say that if you can get a hold of the film, then I'd recommend listening to the title sequence music. It's actually one of the only things about the movie that I genuinely really liked and was impressed with, to be honest. It has this weird way of being creepy, but also being silly, and it sets the tone that the movie was clearly going for really, really well. The thing is though, when I looked up who did the music composer came up to be Roger Bellinger. I think I said that right, I'm sorry if I didn't. And that wouldn't be weird if the guy wasn't a former American politician. Not a musician or a music composer, but a politician. I have no idea why researching this movie has created more questions than answers. But anyway, I need to focus on the damn movie itself. So, after the title sequence, we're shown an actual bakery that is just so realistic that I was so surprised. I mean, I thought that the budget was really low, but clearly they have a high budget because they managed to actually hire out a real bakery. If you can't sense the sarcasm, then this joke just isn't gonna work, huh?
Happy birthday, big brother.
Is this girl an anime character now? Like, no one in real life calls their big brother Big Brother. That's just so weird and creepy. So this is like a year after the whole diner thing, and the main girl and her mother... You know, I should really learn this main girl's name, but she's so uninteresting that I really can't be bothered. But anyway, her and her mother are now running this bakery with the help of Mr. Cringe himself.
More importantly, I've got 2 tickets for tonight's WrestlePalooza. They're even gonna let amateurs compete tonight. A mosh pit of tag team damage and body slammage.
And Mrs., my only character trait is that I'm Latina.
After 2 years, that loco pendejo is finally dead. Another soul for el diablo.
So yeah, the serial killer is dead and his ashes were sent to his mother, which is kind of important for the plot, weirdly enough. And for some reason, the Latina girl finds this odd and creepy.
They cremated him and sent his ashes to his mother in Coonsboro. How sick is that?
That's actually a completely normal thing for people to do when a loved one dies. Like, do people not know this? Or like, anyway. So, because this is a horror movie and the script needs a way for the serial killer to turn into a gingerbread man, this mysterious figure drops off his ashes because we're now apparently watching Hot Fuzz. And this dumbass manages to cut himself on absolutely nothing. Like, seriously, it's not clear what he cuts himself on at all, and his blood somehow causes the gingerbread man to come to life. Why his blood? Who knows? Why did his ashes alone mixed with blood bring him back to life as a cookie? God knows! Why don't these guys just throw this flower out now that there's blood in it and use it anyway? Don't question it, they're going out of business, they're clearly just disgusting cretins. If he'd have been mixed into any other kind of dough, would he have been able to come back to life as a wafer or a piece of cake? Maybe. Why the hell did his mum not just bring him back to life in a normal way? Why did she decide to bring him back as a gingerbread man? I have no fucking clue, and the movie never answers this. Oh yeah, and the girl's mother is an alcoholic and has been since her dad and brother died. Despite this, she's allowed to carry around a shotgun and no one in the street comes out to ask what's happening, and no passers-by stop to ask why this woman is shooting anything. Like, I don't live in the States, but this can't be normal behavior, right?
What the hell did you do to my banner?
Oh, I didn't...
No, you listen here, girl.
Oh look, it's Doug Dimmadome.
Is there anything else you wanted, Jimmy? If not, I gotta get back to work.
Oh my god, she forgot her line just then. Oh my god, oh my god. I'm sorry, but I need to go on a mini rant about the main girl. She is just so bad. There's a reason why I don't remember her name, because she's just so terrible. I don't know if she was just hired because she's mildly attractive or what, but she is one of the worst actresses I have ever seen. She has no emotion in her voice, and every time she opens her mouth, she sounds like she's in a porno.
Something about it. So, how long you and Amos been together? Yeah. Thanks. It just makes me nervous looking at those things.
Like, seriously, what is all this heavy breathing about? I mean, let's be real, none of the actors in this movie are exactly Leonardo DiCaprio, but this girl is the person that we are supposed to be rooting for, and not only is her acting terrible, but she does so many stupid things in this movie that I spent most of the time watching it screaming at the screen. Anyway, Doug over here, I mean, that's probably not his name, but who cares what his actual name is? Do you? No? Okay, moving on. Doug offers her like $50,000 to get her and her mum to leave because he's building a bakery/diner across the road, and he thinks that the place looks tacky and will make his customers not want to go into his place. But the thing is, that's really not a lot of money for someone to build a life with. Like, I could spend that in a day on manga alone, and I'm not kidding, I probably could. And obviously, because she's the good, wholesome girl and he is the capitalist pig, she pretty much says go fuck yourself and goes inside for a nice little fake cry. After which, she goes to prepare some gingerbread men. Despite only making one massive one, which seems like a waste of dough, but okay? Seriously, it's no wonder this place is shutting down. They bleed in the dough, they waste the dough, like... God. You know, I'm kind of questioning why the gingerbread man looks like that, because he doesn't look like that when he's brought back to life. Like, at all. Also, this gingerbread man looks really stupid. So now, we as audience members are privileged enough to witness this amazing exchange between the main girl and the dumb, blonde, rich daughter of Doug Dimmadome. Dimmadome, Dimmadome, Dimmadome.
What are you doing in here?
Should have figured you'd still be here on a Friday night.
Oh, you little bitch! You're not going anywhere. How dare you bring that rat in here?
Oh my god, this is so grating. But this exchange does lead to the most incredible anime girl transformation imaginable, so there is that. In all seriousness, character break for a moment, but I do love this scene way more than I should. So now we meet the best character in the entire film, Amos. So you're probably wondering, why is Amos the best character, Misa? That seems a bit weird considering the lovely array of cast members that we have here. And I can't really explain it, so I'm just gonna show you.
Look, I am serious. Okay, a couple weeks after that, I saw on the news how the cops arrested some guy for cutting up girls' body parts and mailing them off.
Talk about going postal.
Seriously, other than the Gingerdead man, he is the only part of this movie that made me laugh out loud. So, the drunken mother manages to find a bottle of JD in the bakery, despite having been taken home by the Latina girl. It seems like she did a really shit job of making sure she got home. Like, literally, you had one job, make sure she goes inside the house and keep her there until she falls asleep. You couldn't do that? Really? Also, why is she even back at the bakery? Is there nowhere else that she could find a bottle of Jack Daniels? Anyway, regardless, she's taunted by the Gingerdead man. Now, this is another issue that I kind of have with the plot, because there was a year time skip, and we as an audience never saw the trial of this serial killer or his death or anything like that. We have no clue why he wants to kill this girl and her mum so much. We don't have that much context. I'm just saying, if he's a serial killer, and judging by how easily he killed the people in the diner and how blunt he was about it, he clearly is a serial killer. No normal human who hasn't killed multiple people would act like that when murdering others. So if that's the case, he must have had other victims, and therefore family members and friends of said victims that would have come forward at his trial, right? Even the waitress at the diner would have had family that would have been there to watch him get convicted, so why does he want to kill these two in particular? So much so that he was brought back as a Gingerdead man, and now he's trying to murder them as a cookie. Charles Lee Ray didn't have motivation beyond wanting a human body to be transferred into and being a sociopath who loved killing, but that motivation was made very, very clear, even if it wasn't the most thorough reasoning or backstory. It was still a backstory, you know what I mean? But this guy doesn't really tell us or even them why he wants to kill them beyond him being put in the electric chair for murder. What about the other people that you killed? Are you only upset because these lot are the ones who got you caught? Like, explain more, movie. Although I don't know why I'm expecting anything from a movie called The Gingerdead Man. Seriously, am I the problem? Am I taking this too seriously? Anyway, back to the film again. I did warn you guys about all the tangents. So he cuts the drunken mum's finger off and tries sounding like Chucky even more. Where the hell have you been? Did you just realize that you didn't take her home properly?
Right.
That's gonna leave a mark.
God, this movie is so dumb. So Mr. Doug Dimmadome shows up for some reason, and there's this really weird scene where he claims to have figured out that his daughter and Amos are in the bakery, but it doesn't really show how he knows. It's really weird, I just have to show it to you.
Lorna Dean, what the hell did you bring me out here for? Oh, now that makes sense. The tattoo punk got you up to no good again, I'll bet.
Like, I guess that they were planning to show a shot of the car outside of the building or something to indicate that they were in the bakery. And why did they not show a shot of the car, like a singular shot of the car? Was that so difficult to do? This scene is just really confusing and I just kind of wanted to point it out. It shows the laziness in producing this film. So Amos and the main girl have a pointless romantic subplot, something about them knowing each other when they were kids and a punch bowl or something or other, I don't really care. And it doesn't matter because Doug Dimmadome dies!
What the fuck are you doing? Hold on.
I have literally no idea how a gingerbread man would even have the strength to drive a car, let alone the ability to push on the gas, even with the method that he came up with in this scene, but... whatever. But yeah, he killed him, somehow. I guess the director was trying to copy that one scene from Child's Play with the detective and the car, but the difference is that that scene kinda made sense because Chucky tried strangling him at first, and he has the strength that he did as a human. He wasn't trying to drive the car, he was trying to murder him by, strangling him and then trying to stab him and then trying to stab him again after the car crashes. Like, it kind of made more sense. But, I repeat for the 50 millionth time, whatever. So the blonde girl leaves in a strop because why wouldn't she? And these two lovebirds come across the Latina girl.
She gonna be okay?
She's got a knock on her head, but she's still breathing.
I have no idea how a gingerbread man managed to do that, let alone with enough time to escape to the car to kill Doug Dimmadome and then go back into the building again. Like, his legs are tiny and stubby. But Blondie finds her dad's corpse outside, which, as you can imagine, is an emotional scene that rivals Jack's death scene in Titanic.
I miss you, Daddy.
So for the next few minutes, Blondie makes herself an even more unlikable bitch to the point where I wanted to kill her.
Lorna, don't look that bad.
Oh, that's easy for you to say. You're ugly. She dead?
No, she's alright.
Well, nothing's alright around here. You guys can stay if you want to, but that poppin' fresh fucker's already gotten a hold of my face. And I'll be damned if he gets anything else.
But luckily for us, the Gingerdead man does it for me. Yay!
Holy shit.
And it was at this point in the movie where I asked a question that now plagues my mind about this fantastic, spectacular motion picture. Why the fuck have these guys not tried to leave? They don't really explain why they do not just exit the premises. They mention that the Gingerdead man might be walking around outside waiting for them, but number one, he's clearly been running around the bakery, so when you know that he's inside, you could just make a run for it and maybe tell the police that there's been a robbery so you can get someone else to deal with the problem. That's pretty much what I would do. And number two, even if he is running around outside, he's a fucking gingerbread man! Just kick him, step on him, anything, he's a cookie! At least Chucky is a plastic doll, so he's a bit harder to destroy as the movie. Like, he shouldn't be that hard to kill. I don't see why anyone would be scared of him and why anyone would have trouble killing the thing. Anyway, the movie is kind of nearly over now, so let's just finish up the video, shall we? The main girl and Amos find her mum in the oven and spend so much time not getting her out of it that the main girl manages to get herself thrown in there too. These characters are literally too stupid for words.
Night cream puff.
So Mr. Cringe manages to come into the scene and fight the Gingerdead man and eat him in one of the most ridiculous scenes I have ever seen.
Got milk?
But because he ate the Gingerdead man, the spirit of the serial killer goes into him now and turns him into some kind of gingerbread human hybrid thing for some reason that is never explained ever again. Now he tries to kill the main girl, but they manage to just kind of gently push him into the oven, and so Mr. Cringe is dead. I don't know why they couldn't have done this with the fucking gingerbread equivalent of him, since he weighs like half a pound, but okay. And sometime later, the business is flourishing for some reason, but someone delivers some demented gingerbread men. The end. Yep, that's the ending. Yep, I was confused too. The Gingerdead Man is a weird, kind of funny mess, but did I actually like it? Was it a good bad movie? Well, yes and no. I like the fact that the movie didn't take itself too seriously, and I think that the director knew exactly what he was making, which was probably why he threw the character in a movie with the evil bong. I also like the music score, even if the music composer is kind of questionable and I don't really know if he's actually a music composer or not. I like the fact that it was only 70 minutes long, and most of all, I liked the Gingerdead Man. All joking aside, I think that Gary Busey actually did quite a good job despite the project that he was in, and even though his character isn't that great and is an evident copy of Chucky, he was still likable and funny, and apart from Amos being hilarious, he was the best part of the movie. The really terrible effects are quite noticeable, but they're not so terrible that I rolled my eyes, they're more just kind of funny. On the other hand, what makes this film not completely likable to me is that the whole thing was just too stupid and too bland. I think that maybe the sequels are better in terms of being a bit more exciting considering the trailers to them. I haven't watched them, but they look more fun and more ridiculous to the point where I probably won't even be thinking about how stupid they are. I think if something is overly ridiculous to the point where it makes you laugh out loud at how ridiculous it is, then most of the time it's more enjoyable than something that's just kind of ridiculous and stupid, but you start to question everything in the movie. Which is kind of what I did with this one. I think the only negative thing about the sequels is that Gary Busey doesn't come back to do the voice except in one of them, but oh well. I guess I'll see when I watch them, and I'll see if the voice actors do as good of a job as Gary did. But the Gingerdead Man was just kind of dull when the Gingerdead Man wasn't on screen. None of the characters except Amos were entertaining, let alone likeable, and I found it very hard to get through the scenes with just them. Also, there weren't that many actual deaths caused by the Gingerdead Man, so he didn't really seem that scary to me. And I think because he's a gingerbread man, it seems a bit ridiculous that no one managed to kill him. I guess my main issue is that I was questioning so much in the movie when I should have just been laughing at it, and I think that's what the director wanted, but I don't know, I was overanalyzing it a bit, I guess. And if my brain can't switch off through a movie, I tend to not enjoy it as much, but that's just a personal thing. In terms of ranking, the Gingerdead Man isn't bad enough to be put on the same level as Strippers vs. Werewolves because it has some redeeming qualities to it, but it's not high enough to be on the same level as Troll or Zombievers because it wasn't as entertaining as them or as interesting as them. So if I'm being honest, I'm gonna put it just above The Legend of Halloween Jack, but below Circus Kane. I don't hate it, it's not completely boring and forgettable, but it's not the best of the worst either. So yeah, that's my ranking. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I have new social media for you guys to follow, so go follow those. But I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Kyandy on Twitter, who did my new avatar poses since my drawing tablet is out of commission and I cannot afford to buy a new one at the moment. They are absolutely amazing, and if you guys want commissions done by someone who's good at drawing anime, then I suggest you go to her. She's a really sweet and nice person, and I think she deserves a lot more traffic to her Twitter than she gets. So I'll leave a link to her Twitter and her website in the description so you guys can go and check her out. She's pretty cool. But anyway, thank you for getting through the video. This one took quite a while for me to do, and I went through a lot of trials getting through this one. But I appreciate you guys getting this far into it, so I will see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Peace out. Bye.